Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to W.M.S.T episode number 36. I've got my boy Cam here, aka the man who is.
I'm the weird one.
Oh, yeah, you're the weird one. I was going to come up with a phrase on the spot because I kind of forgot about that one. But he's everybody's favorite weirdo and mine. It's Cam. What up, Cam?
Hi, we're very short on people today.
Yeah, it's just me and Cam. As you all know, I'm your boy Syed, the host. So yeah, we're just gonna kick this episode off, and we'll see if Ziggler or Tyler or somebody joins the episode later. So let's start talking about uh, some wrestling. So WWE had a pretty huge week this week. Uh, so one of the biggest news coming out from this week was SmackDown was Brock Lesnar challenging Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship at the first SmackDown on Fox on October 4th, I believe, or 5th. Is it October 4th or 5th?
Friday is the 4th.
Yeah, October 4th, Friday. It's going to be the first episode. Brock Lesnar is going to be wrestling on TV for the first time in like 15 years. It's pretty huge stuff, honestly. For the first time in a really long time, Kofi Kingston's title reign feels like it could actually end. And it's actually really good that he's finally gotten to the point where he can face Brock Lesnar and be seen as a credible threat. And I'm personally hoping that Kofi does win does win and retain the championship. But I know there's a high chance that Lesnar can win the title uh, on the first SmackDown episode on Fox. I mean, I would make it so that Kofi beats Brock and kind of solidifies himself as a uh, actual dominant champion, which he has been booked as so far. So hopefully that booking continues into the Fox era of SmackDown. Uh, Cam, what were your thoughts on Kofi Kingston confrontation with Lesnar and their eventual match?
I actually didn't want it at first. I mean, come to think about it, this was actually the main reason why I wanted Randy Orton to win at Clash of the Champions on Sunday. It's just so I can avoid Kofi getting the tar beaten out of him yet again. Because remember that one time in Japan that he got his ass kicked. But if we're being honest, a lot of people don't really like the title run and think, oh, Kofi should lose the title lose the title. He's boring as champion. I don't like him as a fighting champion. Yet I on the other hand has been enjoying Kofi Kingston as a world champion. It's a breath of fresh air, to be honest. So to answer to those naysayers that say, oh, Kofi's boring, why not put the title belt on Lesnar or have them threaten to put the title belt on Lesnar and say, no, 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 don't do that. We like Kofi. We like Kofi like the fickle sheep that they are. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
when is Hell in a Cell?
I think Hell in a Cell is gonna be
Oh, the
October.
6th, right after the Fox shut episode. So it'll probably go to a no contest, or they have the match there, and then it goes to a DQ or no contest, and then they do a rematch at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I can see that as a possibility. Although
Like
that would,
that's long term book. That's moderate long term booking in a way,
yeah,
and
although it would be kind of anticlimactic for a first ever Fox episode for a match to just end on a DQ or a no contest. I think maybe they would be wiser to have a proper finish, wouldn't you say?
I mean Lesnar to win here, and then either that or Kofi actually does the impossible, and then Lesnar beats him at Hell in a Cell.
Right. That actually makes sense because if Kofi wins on SmackDown, that the new audience that watches on SmackDown on Fox, they'll be like, "Wow, Kofi's awesome. He's so badass." But then let's say if Fox still wants Lesnar as champion, they can have Lesnar win in Hell in a Cell, which is gonna be way harder than a normal match on SmackDown. So I think even though it is kind of 50-50 booking, it does the Hell in a Cell environment does offset that because it makes more sense that Lesnar, who's a more physically dominant than Kofi Kingston, would win inside Hell in a Cell rather than a normal match with Kofi, which Kofi could possibly win. So it would make sense if they did it in that sense. Do you think that's something they can explore?
They can do that, although they probably won't put them in the cage. Because I'm thinking, and they've had like nights where they've had three cell matches in one night, but they usually do two in one night. Like last year, they had the Universal title match and Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton in the cell. So they might just do Sasha and Becky in the cell, and then Bray and Seth in the cell, and not put Kofi and Brock in the cage.
Hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. Although it's kind of lame if you don't put the WWE Championship in the cell. But I do agree with you. Like WWE has done that a lot.
Like you don't want to overuse the cage.
Yeah, right. Because then again, Hell in a Cell, the pay per view itself shouldn't be a pay per view because the stipulation should be only used for like blood feuds that have reached a boiling point kind of thing.
And if you're
So
gonna do a pay per view that revolves around the cage, why not just do it at the end of the year and just call it Armageddon?
right, that's so true. I think December Armageddon would be a good idea. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so
Plus,
far
so
though,
much to the old name.
yeah, definitely an homage. Yeah, but yeah, Kofi versus Lesnar should be a really fun match at the least, even if the results end up disappointing us.
But it won't be that disappointing because if they still do the SmackDown versus Raw thing for Survivor Series, then we're probably gonna see Fiend and Lesnar.
Yeah, that is true. Although I am kind of tired of the SmackDown versus Raw format, so that's another topic for another discussion. But yeah. All right. Speaking of another topic, let's move on to Clash of Champions. It was this past Sunday. Wasn't as good of a pay per view as a lot of WWE pay per views have been recently, but I thought it was a fine event. So let's review it. The match that stood out to me was definitely Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. It was definitely a really great 20-minute match they were having. Although the non-finish, I think, definitely hurt their momentum in that match. And actually, a lot of people forgot that the match was like over, like Sasha got disqualified, but nobody realized that. I thought that was pretty funny, and that just shows you people are like really into these two wrestlers, and they got I thought they got like the loudest reaction during the show. So props to them. I think Hell in a Cell between these two would be absolutely dope, and maybe even seeing Sasha Banks finally defeat Becky Lynch inside Hell in a Cell is something they should explore and something that could create a lot of buzz. And speaking of buzz, the moment that I know a lot of people talked about was uh, Luke Harper coming back. I mean, he's still under contract, so it wasn't kind of surprising, but it was still great to see Luke Harper come back, help Eric Rowan win the match. By the way, that match was disappointing, to say the least. And of course, the Fiend appearing and basically challenging Seth Rollins to a Hell in a Cell match, which I'm really looking forward to. That was an awesome finish, and I seriously cannot wait to see that match inside Hell in a Cell, and hopefully see the Fiend win the Universal Championship. I mean, we could be seeing two title changes at Hell in a Cell. We could be seeing Sasha become Women's Champion and Bray becoming Universal Champion. So hopefully those two things happen, because I feel like if those two things happened, it would definitely freshen up the product and add a layer of unpredictability. But my overall score for Clash of Champions, I think I would give it like I don't want to say it's a bad event. I was thinking of giving it a 5 out of 10, but I think I'll give it like a 6 out of 10. I thought it was pretty okay. Cam, what did you think about Clash of Champions? Your favorite moments and your grade? Sorry, your score for the event?
Clash of the Champions felt like a rather weak show, in my opinion. Out of all the shows they've done in the past few months, I was about to say 12 months, even though we're really in September. This is probably the weakest of the shows. I didn't watch the Saudi Arabia show, so I wouldn't know how that went. But out of all the shows that I've watched, from Royal Rumble to Mania to SummerSlam to here, this is probably the weak one. The first two matches kind of felt weak. Like it's fine, but kind of a rocky opener. Like the SmackDown Women's title match, it was starting to pick up steam, and then it ended just like that. And it's between two good wrestlers in Bayley and Charlotte Flair. So I understand that you're trying to get the new attitude for Bayley over, but at least let the match pick up steam and then end it on the turnbuckle finish. Revival winning the tag titles. I'm glad that they're tag champs, but they're Raw wrestlers. It's the rule. I hate the rule. But at least there's a draft coming next month. So let's just let them blow their load all over the place with the rosters and stuff. It can't come sooner enough. The Becky Sasha match, my match of the night, mainly due to the fact that I haven't really seen these two have a match in a really long time. I mean, you can blame the brand split for that, but these two are still great. With the DQ finish aside, and them going all over the crowd, and them using the chair. Like, there was a moment in the match where Becky had the chair, and the referee literally turned his back to the chair, and then Becky hit him. So, like, yeah, referee just let it happen. I think it actually helped out. Like, it helped further the storyline and actually helped get Banks over and help get Lynch over, because Lynch hasn't had a good opponent, hasn't had a good feud until now, and now they're gonna go to the next pay-per-view and Sasha will probably win it there. As for Kofi and Orton, it was a good match, but I still feel that Orton should have won here just to avoid the Lesnar thing. Still good to see Kofi it's still good to see Kofi as champion though. The Eric Rowan-Roman Reigns match, probably the weakest match on here besides the SmackDown Women's match. Like, I like no DQ stuff. It's just that this didn't hook me. Like, it didn't do much for me. But I did like the fact that Luke Harper showed up again. I've always liked Luke Harper. It's just that he's rarely, if ever, on television and used. But it's good to see him here and actually rubbing shoulders with main event guys like Roman and Daniel Bryan. And I have to give props to them for giving Eric Rowan a chance here. As for the main event, it wasn't a bad one. It was actually quite decent. If we're being honest, the only moments that I'll actually keep replaying in my mind is Strowman doing a big splash and Rollins doing the curb stomp hat trick and pulling out the pedigree again. But that doesn't matter. The Fiend is coming. Overall, Clash of the Champions gets out of 5 rating, it's 3 out of 5, but it's probably 6 to 7 out of 10.
Yep, sounds good. And let's talk about NXT's first episode on the USA Network. Now, I didn't get to catch it, but I've heard a lot of praise for the first hour of the episode, which aired on the USA Network. Heard the Fatal Four Way number one contenders was a great match. Heard the North American Championship was great. So they definitely front loaded that episode. So, Cam, what were your thoughts on this first ever NXT? First ever official NXT episode on the USA Network.
It was half top heavy and for most of it was top heavy, but the second hour did have the cruiserweight title match and the street fight, so it had a good balance to it. As the first hour was not a bad way to actually start your new era and actually try to hook viewers. The Fatal 4-Way match with the women, great match. The North American title match, great main event. And finally, the prophecy has been fulfilled with the Undisputed Era wearing all the gold like Evolution. As for the second hour, the Cruiserweight Championship number one contenders match with a returning Leo Rush, that was probably my match of the episode. And then there was Walter and Imperium from NXT UK making an appearance, and Kushida actually fighting him off. This is his first feud, I believe. And then there was the Matt Riddle, Killian Dane street fight that ended in a no contest with the classic, everyone brawling. We gotta go off the air. Good night, everybody. Wrestling finish. Overall, it wasn't a bad way to start a new TV deal, and I hope to see more out of it. Oh, and while I'm at it, the first week of October is going to be a really busy time. Is going to be a very busy week. Raw, AEW, SmackDown on Fox, and now Candice LeRae, Shayna Baszler for the women's title that same week, and Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, that is gonna be hell of a week. And for the fans of the rest of the podcast, we also have the Joker coming out.
Joker movie.
Yeah, that is gonna be a hell of a week to talk about wrestling and that's gonna be a crazy week. Yeah, but yeah, glad you enjoyed the episode of NXT as well. So yeah, hopefully we get more good episodes. And the episode actually ended up pulling a 1.2 million viewers for of course the 1 hour they were on air, which is actually really good. Apparently that was 60% of the SmackDown viewers. So I think WWE would be pretty happy if they could maintain this amount of viewers even with AEW on air. And
they're getting a head start, so it's pretty much a good thing.
Right.
Oh, and speaking of AEW, they actually showed a commercial for it during the broadcast.
Yeah. Apparently, you have Dish, right?
I have Spectrum.
Oh, okay.
Cable.
Because apparently Dish, you can, AEW apparently bought ad space on Dish to air on USA Network, so I guess it got on Spectre as well. Because I don't think Comcast saw it there. But it's pretty interesting because USA could have checked that, but I guess they offered some pretty good money to run the ad, so it's a good business move in my opinion.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed that video and make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And click on the channel to check out some more awesome videos like our movie and wrestling debates and our interviews with people like the Wrestling Classic and Jordan Jomo from the IGWC. And we are definitely looking into delivering you all some more content in the near future, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And thank you for your support.